It's Monday, July 27. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. As of Monday morning, Jamaica has recorded 842 cases of COVID-19. 5 new cases were confirmed on Sunday. 3 more patients have been declared recovered and have been released from isolation. The total recoveries for the island now stand at 714. The 5 new cases are all imported from the USA and consist of 3 males and 2 females. They range in age from 24 to 61 years. 3 are non-Jamaicans staying in St. James and Hanover. The other are 2 Jamaicans with addresses of residences in St. James and Clarendon, respectively. Jamaica now has 76 active cases under observation, with 3 moderately ill patients. There are no critically ill patients at this time, and some 42 cases have repatriated to their countries of origin. Some 17,869 persons of interest are quarantined at home, while 4 remain in quarantine at government facilities. To mitigate the financial strains brought on by COVID-19, the Jamaica Public Service, JPS, has announced a raft of measures to ease the strain on customers. This includes the waiving of reconnection fees. JPS said accounts that get disconnected between July 23 and September 30 will not attract a reconnection fee. The utility company is also extending flexible payment terms to a broader group of persons who qualify as vulnerable customers. This is in addition to elderly and disabled customers and include the following: customers with special needs, customers who have lost their income via redundancy, being laid off or had their income cut, customers on the government's program of advancement through health and education, PATH. The Senate has approved states of public emergencies now in place until September 3. This means SOEs imposed in the police divisions of Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover, Kingston East, Kingston Central, Kingston Western, and St. Andrew South will continue. We have more in this report.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and the leader of government business in the Upper House, Senator KAMINA Johnson-Smith, piloted the resolutions. Some opposition senators, however, threw cold water on the measures.
I feel as if I am being asked to support failure, because the fact that this is brought here today means that over the last 3 years, almost 3 years, it hasn't succeeded. And Einstein, it was who told us, if you do the same thing over and over, right? I think it's Einstein. Wait. Einstein. We have that Einstein. I know Sigmund them. Wait. If you do the same thing over and over again, and you expect a different result, then you're crazy.
Minister Johnson-Smith cited an overall reduction in murders and shootings in these parishes with SOEs.
As at July 18, 2020, Jamaica has managed to maintain an overall 13% reduction year over year in serious crimes. Mr. President, in fact, for the same period, all serious crimes have recorded reductions. Murders by 3%, shootings by 11%, rape by 16%, robbery by 12%, and break-ins by 24%. So, Mr. President, while we give thanks for these successes, we clearly are not where we would want to be. And yes, where we would want to be is sleeping with our doors open. We don't resile from that aspiration, Mr. President. We own it, and we must all work towards it.
Following the debate, 15 senators voted in support of the resolutions, with 5 opposing them. 1 senator was absent. The extensions were approved by the House of Representatives on Tuesday, July 21. Melvin Pennant, PBCJ News.
On Friday, the Port Antonio Police Station and Portland Divisional Headquarters was officially opened. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, and Portland Members of Parliament Daryl and Admarie Vaz were on hand for the opening. In his remarks, the Prime Minister said the government values the tremendous contribution of the security forces and recognizes the immense challenges that they face.
There is a view in the society that peace is the responsibility of the police force alone. As if the citizen has no agency, that is, has no responsibility for the state of their affairs. That the citizen is powerless to address the situations that they face. A truly safe country is when the citizen is the warden of the peace, meaning that the citizen wake up every morning and they look around their community and they say, you see that little one over there? That one is a troublemaker. And when all the citizens hold hands around that troublemaker and work with the police to share information on that troublemaker, everyone is safer because of that.
Constable Ricardo Hylton was laid to rest on the weekend. Hylton and Corporal Dane Biggs were shot and killed in the line of duty in Horizon Park, Spanish Town on June 12. Superintendent Leon Clunis, who led the operation and was also shot and injured, would succumb to his injuries on June 30. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in a message, cited the sacrifice of Constable Hylton.
Shortly after I learned of the tragic shooting of Constable Ricardo Hylton, I visited his family home. His parents showed me his room, which they described as his haven. They showed me his bed and told me it remained exactly the way he left it when he departed for work on what we will forever remember as a dreadful morning. That morning, Ricardo paid the ultimate sacrifice, his life, as he worked in the service of his country, protecting his fellow citizens. Ricardo's death, along with his colleagues, Detective Corporal Dane Biggs, who was buried last week, and Superintendent Clunis, who died a few days after the incident, brings home the reality that our police officers place themselves in grave danger every day to ensure our safety. Each time our officers leave their home, their families hope and pray for their safe return. Sadly, this was not the case for Ricardo, when on June 12th, he was shot and killed in the line of duty. As a country, we grieve with his family and friends, as well as his colleagues in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, who must carry on without him. As a parent myself, my heart breaks for his parents. They spoke so lovingly and so proudly about Ricardo. I personally understand their pain. Behind their strong outward appearance, when I visited with them, I could see their sorrow. They told me that they should be planning for his wedding and not his funeral. And yet, in a cruel twist, here we are at his funeral. Ricardo clearly was well-loved, well-mannered, and disciplined. He demonstrated a zeal for his role as an officer of the law and saw it as much more than just work. To his parents, I say, take comfort in knowing that Ricardo lived an honorable life and that though he's no longer with us, his memories will endure for a lifetime.
The Jamaican Bar Association wants the Attorney General to withdraw her controversial comments regarding the country's judiciary system. Last week, Mrs. Malahoo Ford tweeted, quote, "If ever our courts of law cease to be guided by or apply the law and instead become courts of public opinion, special interest, personal interest, or anything else less, then therein lies the biggest threat to our democracy," end quote. President of the Jamaican Bar Association, Emil Leiber, says the Attorney General's statements could undermine the public's trust in the judicial system. Meanwhile, Attorney General Queen's Counsel Marlene Malahoo Fort says the Jamaican judiciary can be assured of her unwavering support and that of the government of Jamaica. In a statement Friday afternoon, Mrs. Malahoo Fort said, in expressing genuine concerns about the approach taken in court during the hearing of some matters of high public importance, some of her comments have been received as an attack on the judiciary. Parents and guardians can log on to National Parent Support Commission's information sessions to get help in preparations for their children's return to school for the 2020-2021 academic year, which starts in September. The NPSC says the series of high-priority information sessions are being facilitated via the Zoom digital platform and will enable facilitators and participants to explore educational options to facilitate the teaching-learning experience. Individuals are being encouraged to participate in the sessions and also direct queries to Mrs. Sonia Riggio via email at ia.orre@moey.gov.jm or by telephone at 876-967-7977.
No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican.
Buju Banton's song, I Am a Jamaican, is Jamaica's chosen 2020 festival song. Buju Banton emerged the winner of the 2020 Jamaica Festival Song Competition on Sunday from a field of 10 finalists. This year, there were more than 250 entrants. The Grammy winner walked away with $3 million in prize and suggested that his charity would be a beneficiary.
I know ID I might need to show, cause I am a Jamaican. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. Before I go into the song, I want to congratulate the true winners tonight. Every member, everyone who participated in this competition, you are all winners. I was happy to share the stage with you all. But for me, the true winners tonight are the Sunbeam Boys Home. Yes, congratulations to Sunbeam Boys Home. You've done it. Yes, yes. No matter where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican. I know ID I man have to show, cause I am a Jamaican. Shiloh, no matter anywhere in this world, I am a Jamaican. I know ID I man have to show, cause I am a Jamaican.
Michigan took second place and Sakina grabbed the third spot. Time to look at the shifts and movements in the financial markets. Let's join Gabriel Thompson for the business report.
In Friday's trading session, the JSE combined index declined by 894 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 82 stocks, of which 31 advanced, 34 declined, and 17 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 26 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Variable Preference, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Caribbean Cement Company. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica, 1834 Investments, and Access Financial Services Limited. Trading firm were AMG Packaging and Paper Company, Berger Paints Jamaica, and Consolidated Bakers Jamaica. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with 2.9 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 1.3 million units, and Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with under 1 million units. Now for the foreign exchange, the US dollar on Friday, July 24 ended trading at $147.99. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $110.72. The pound sterling traded for $188, and the euro ended trading at $171.17. Oil prices edged lower on Monday as rising coronavirus cases and tensions between the United States and China pushed investors towards safe haven assets. Brent crude futures dipped 20 cents to $43.14 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures dropped 14 cents to $41.15 a barrel. That's it for the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, Barbados has been thrown into mourning with the passing of former Prime Minister Owen Arthur.
Barbados has been thrown into mourning following the death of former Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who passed away in the wee hours of this morning at the age of 70. Arthur, the island's longest-serving Prime Minister, died at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital around 12:26 a.m., according to a statement from the Barbados Government Information Service. He was hospitalized over a week ago as a result of heart complications. Starting today, the country will observe a period of national mourning for 3 days, and all flags will be flown at half-mast. The government of Barbados has extended condolences to his wife Julie, his daughters Leah and Sabrina, and his extended family. The statement said Minister of Labour and Social Relations and St. Peter MP Colin Jordan will be the coordinating minister for the funeral arrangements.
Just over 100 Guyanese were repatriated over the weekend. Natisha Isaacs of InfoHub reports.
Over 100 repatriated Guyanese were back on home soil on Friday last, following approval from the National COVID-19 Task Force. Also returning was the body of a Guyanese stalwart, late trade unionist Kamal Chand, arriving on a Caribbean Airlines flight from Cuba. Mr. Chand died in April while receiving treatment for pneumonia in Havana, Cuba. He was accompanied by his wife. In May, the NCTF granted approval for the body of the late trade unionist to return to Guyana. Chand joined the Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union GAU in 1975 as the union's organizing secretary and later served as the organization's president up to the time of his passing. Described as an individual who was committed to his work, Chand dedicated his career to fighting for the protection and rights of workers in the sugar, rice, and numerous other industries in Guyana. Other repatriates included Guyanese national boxers who were elated to have returned to the land of many waters. Colin Lewis, Desmond Amsterdam, Dennis Thomas, and KEEVIN ALLICOCK, 4 of Guyana's national boxers, are now back home after being stranded for months in Cuba due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The 4 men who are Olympic boxing hopefuls were sent to Cuba in January 2020 to undergo training for the qualifiers, which were scheduled to take place in Argentina in April. The boxers were scheduled to return home on March 22, but were unable to do so as Guyana's National COVID-19 Task Force closed the country's borders and airspace to control the spread of the coronavirus. Director of Sport Christopher Jones explained that when the country implemented lockdown measures, the National Sports Commission took the responsibility of the boxers to ensure that their accommodation and other needs were taken care of.
This would not have been possible without the support of Ambassador Majid and the Cuban Embassy of Guyana in Havana. They immediately drove, I think, 6 hours to where the boxers were initially housed, brought them to Havana, Cuba, accommodated them, ensure that all of their needs are taken care of for the past 3 months that they've been there.
Jones disclosed that they facilitated in transporting the young men to Havana, Cuba, from where they were being housed initially.
Throughout the Caribbean, the government has been making efforts to repatriate Guyanese from the different jurisdictions. And of course, with the collaboration of Caribbean Airlines, they were able today to bring persons from Jamaica, Havana, and Barbados into Guyana.
The visibly happy quartet told InfoHub that while the experience was a trying one, they did their best to maintain a positive outlook and commended the NCTF, the National Sports Commission, and the Guyana Olympic Association for their efforts to bring them home. Desmond Amsterdam said while the experience was quite challenging, he made the best of it as the pandemic was unprecedented.
I feel great. I feel relief. I feel relief because I don't know what. I just feel relief. I don't know what to say, but I just feel relief.
KEEVIN ALLICOCK echoed similar comments.
You know, the first time ever facing something like this, it's kind of tough, you know, being away from your family for so long. I learned a lot, you know, over the 7 months that I stayed.
The boxers were among 101 persons who returned home after being stranded in Cuba, Jamaica, and Barbados due to the ongoing pandemic. Natisha Isaacs, for InfoHub.
President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Antonia de FREITAS, is calling for consultation in light of COVID-19 cases reaching the schools. Speaking with TTT News via Zoom, she called on teachers to be careful and parents to keep their children at home if they are ill. Ian Wason has more.
Citing that no examination is worth a child's life, TTUTA President Antonia de FREITAS wants children to stay at home if they are not well. Last week, a child attending school in preparation for the August 20th SCA exam tested positive for COVID-19 and concerns were raised regarding other children attending the school. The Ministry of Health shared guidelines with the Ministry of Education regarding the way forward for schools. But TTUTA is still concerned about some of these guidelines. The TTUTA president said one of the guidelines include schools having an isolation room.
That is with the presumption that the school plant has the facility to isolate, that there is the presumption that someone from the Ministry of Health would arrive on the compound in a timely manner.
She added, TTUTA wrote to the Ministry of Health to seek advice but did not get a response.
Well, at this point in time, TTUTA stands to be guided by the Ministry of Health's pronouncements. Good? And this is why we are saying that there must be proper consultation. Continue to advise our members to take care of themselves and use the precautions. And if necessary, we will then have a discussion with our members on what course of action we will follow.
The TTUTA president said if the COVID cases increase, then there may have to be a rethink of the September 1st reopening date for schools. Ian Wason, TTT News.
In sports, we're on the pitch with cricket. A third day at Old Trafford saw the Caribbean side concede a first innings lead of 172 after they were dismissed for 197. After resuming the morning on 137 for 6, the Windies closed the day 137 for 6, a deficit of 232 runs. The series is level at 1-1 after West Indies won by 4 wickets at Southampton in the first test before England scored a 113-run victory at Old Trafford in the second test. The 3 back-to-back tests against England marks the international cricket return to the games after the coronavirus lockdown. On the tracks, World Championship finalist Akeem Bloomfield won the 400 meters at the Back to the Track meet in Clermont, Florida on the weekend. Bloomfield finished ahead of American Josephus Lyles in the 2-man race. Bloomfield sped to a 45.07 win with Lyles clocking 45.40 seconds. Olympic champion Shanae Miller-Ubo posted a world-leaded 10.98 seconds to capture the women's 100 meters. In the weather update, at 4 a.m., the center of tropical depression Hanna was located near latitude 24.1 north, longitude 102.9 west. The Met Office says that the depression is moving toward the west near 7 kilometers per hour, and this motion is expected to continue today. Maximum sustained winds are near 35 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Hanna will weaken into a remnant low today. Tropical depression Hanna is not a threat to Jamaica. And that's the news. Thanks so much for watching PBCJ.